And we're live. How's everybody doing? So we're at the end of the road for Kickstarter. So I just want to talk about the campaign, see if we could get some last minute backers, and close it out and move on from there. First, I'll kind of talk about the campaign, the cool stuff that's on it, and then we'll get into my thoughts on Fund My Comic versus um, Kickstarter, the good, the bad, and we'll go from there. Um, let's start off with the trailer. And thanks, Pedro, for making such a great trailer. All right. I do really like my trailer. Hopefully, other people do as well. But um, when I originally did the trailer, I was Pedro had come back to me and he's like, "You got a lot of words here. Are you doing a voiceover?" And I'm like, that would have been great. But he made the decision. Well, I mean, obviously we both made this decision, but he came up with the idea of using the typewriter, which I think works really well. Kind of reminds me right now. Zade Comics has their Man with No Strings, and the trailer they did for that, and they have the clock ticking throughout it, which I think is really cool. But let's take a look at the campaign, and this this will be the end, I guess. After today, I mean, let's take a look. We're at $406, which is awesome. Of the $300 goal, you can see it just changed. We have 70 minutes to go before this is all over. I had originally funded on Fund My Comic, and I said, well, let's try Kickstarter too, see what we can get there. The cool thing is that whatever stretch goals we reach, which I'm hoping, we'll see. I don't know if we're going to get another $300 in 70 minutes, but I'm going to combine everything into one, and so whoever backed on Fund My Comic will get the same stretch goals as excuse me, as everybody will get the same stretch goal. So let's take a look. And I'll talk about this a little bit later as far as some of the, I don't know if you want to say mistakes, but things maybe I didn't think about or whatever. But Um, I had a really difficult time coming up with a like an elevator pitch for this, because it's not really like your standard comic book. It's not like, hey, this guy's on the trail of a killer and um, whatever. But you know, so we came up with the idea of a narrative, an illustrated narrative, which the closest I could come to is like an old pulp magazine. But that really didn't fit either. So, um, but basically, the book is collection of scenes from Edgar Allan Poe's stories, some of his stories, um, with an illustration by different artists. Um, there is an intro and an outro with Dr. Mask, who's like your crypt keeper slash mysterious traveler character. Um, to introduce you to the book and to recap or whatever at the end. But he also appears in all the artwork throughout the comic. So I don't know, I just thought that'd be cool. It's almost like a Where's Waldo type thing. So when you get the comic and you look, you're like, oh, where is he in this page? Some of them are blatantly obvious, some of them aren't, um but anyway, so that's the gist of it. It's in black, white, and red. Um, so if we go down here, this is the cover A, um, by Ricardo Jaime. Amazing cover. I love this cover. um, Not that I don't love everything on this, because I got some amazing guys to work on this for me. And then the second cover, this is the original Midnight #1. Um, and then this is the homage cover. This was done by Greg Murray. Dan Kemp did the colors for it. Um, and I mentioned this before, but one interesting thing was he had originally drawn it with the Comics Code stamp on there, and turns out somebody actually owns that. So rather than go back and have to like recreate kind of a mock, I just decided to drop it out. So that's where we are. This actually is the cover to the newsprint one with the white logo. The regular version looks exactly the same, except the logo's colored. So here's one of the interior pages. This is Preston Azevedo. Did a great job on this. The original for this is still on the campaign. You can grab that. He's an amazing artist, and I would say the price of what it is on this campaign is cheap compared to, what he's going to fetch in the future. So he just keeps getting better and better, and he's getting bigger and bigger. So so jump on that. But anyway, this is what the interiors are going to look like with this border. And just to kind of tie it all together. All the interior colors were done by Dave Kemp. He did that. This is Brian Bow, Murders in the Rue Morgue. This one I just recently added, that Brian revealed it. Here's The Lake, by Jim Whiting. So these are all the lake is a poem. There'll be stories that like Murders in the Rue Morgue, and there'll be other things like the lake, which most people probably have not heard of. So here's the Christian Rossi, some of the interiors. This is the home of Dr. Mask. This is where he has his library, that if you happen to be able to get to his library, or he invites you to his library, you can search through his amazing library and find answers for questions you might have. So there it is in the rain. There's Dr. Mask with Thule, his companion. Letters were done by Keith Gleason, who will be actually I'll be doing I'm doing an every other week show called Unmasked just to talk to creators. So not next week, but the week after. Keith will be on Wednesday night at 7:30. I don't remember the exact date, but anyway, here we go. So Edgar Allan Poe is obviously a writer. I wrote the script for the first and last pages. Collected and edited by me, graphic designer Jim Whiting, who helped kind of lay it all out and make it look awesome. Dave Kemp, interior colors. Christian Rossi did the sequentials, which we already talked about. Keith Gleason, lettering. Now, Dr. Mask was designed by me and Luke Stone. He helped me out with that. He also designed the logo for Besprinkled with Scarlet. And the Dr. Mask logo, I have two. The original one was designed by Luke, and Jim created another one. I liked it, so I'm like, oh, let's go with this one too. So now we got two. If we go down through and we'll look at these artists again, they're just a lot of amazing stuffs. Robert Geronimo, known for Blood Realm, did this one as Ascent in the Maelstrom. Alexi Gorboot, sorry, who I saw his work first on Twitter. He just posts a lot of amazing stuff, mostly like medieval stuff, but I'm like, I just really like his work. So I'm like, this isn't that far-fetched. We're talking like characters set in the 1800s. So he did an amazing job on that one as well. Jim Whiting did the lake. There's Preston again. Peter Gilmore did The Pit and the Pendulum. I had reached out to him and asked him if there was a Poe story he liked that he would like to do, and that was his choice on that one. That one turned out amazing as well. And yeah, he's been. I'm just trying to think. He's known for Jack the Ripper, Vampire Hunter, and also some other books. I'm trying to remember. He's got a couple on Fund My Comic right now, so you should go check those out as well. Some awesome horror books he's got coming up. Anthony Pugh did Casco Amontillado. I just happened to run into Anthony at a comic show, liked his artwork, and asked him to do this one for me. This was one of the ones that was a must-have in this book for me because it's one of my favorite Poe stories. So Ricardo Jaime for The Fall of House of Usher, which has now been revealed. I did not add it to this page, but we'll flip over to the update and look at it. Kevin Conrad, who was just on my channel. If you haven't seen that, you can go back and watch the replay, but it was a lot of fun. Talking about, him getting the start, growing up, his love of comics, his love of music, how he got, involved in a Kiss tribute band, all that stuff. So it's all right there. A lot of fun. He's a good dude. But anyway, he did The Premature Burial. And he also, on this campaign, he has some sketch cards available. So you can, if you back a sketch card, once the campaign's over, I will reach out to you and say, what character do you want? He will do the character. And I'll show a few examples that I have here later. But he will draw whatever character you want. And it'll be black, white, and he'll add some color if it's necessary. If it's a character that needs some color. But Brian Bow, Murders in the Rue Morgue, best known for his comic Wolf and Batsy, which that's an awesome comic as well. Fabrizio Aiello did the portrait, the oval portrait, sorry. Every time I do it, because there's a King Diamond song called The Portrait, and I just keep getting those two, I keep getting them mixed up for some reason. I can't really see it, but this is a King Cryptid color changing mug. It's about half empty, as you can tell, but or half full, depending on how you look at it, right? Anyway, so Fabrizio, who's has his comic Horace H. Hoover, and he also has he just announced another one on the horizon, which will be awesome, I'm sure too. So you should check that out. Richie Acosta did Mask of the Red Death, which that piece is available on here. And honestly, if it doesn't get sold on here, then I'm buying it because I really want to have it. So, but anyway, I do have some of the original artwork. Some of it's digital, so there isn't any. But anyway, so he did this one. Super cool guy. Has helped out a lot as far as promoting the campaign and stuff. So I really do appreciate that. So shout out to him. Daniel Alvarez did the ink. He Richie doesn't ink his own work, so he has Daniel Alvarez do the inking for him. Turned out great. And then Elliot Rodriguez, he was one of the first. This was one of the first images that I revealed. I think I did some teasers like on the original character design that Luke Stone had done with me, but I wanted like a promo piece. I reached out to Elliot and he did this, and it was just amazing. So I was like, I'm going to use this as a promo piece so people can see the character, know what he looks like, and go from there. And then, yeah, anyway, so I liked it so much. I'm like, it's got to go in the book too. So, so I added it to it's the back page of the book. So here we go with the t-shirt you can get. This is a tagless t-shirt, good quality, with Christian Rossi artwork. He had created the illustration for the Fund My Comic campaign with the FMC logo, and I liked it so much. I'm like, hey, can we just switch it out with a Poe book? So he just created a book that says Edgar Allan Poe on it, and there we go. So I really like that one as well. All in bundle, you can get everything. You'll get a copy of each cover. You'll get a t-shirt, and you'll get a card, which I will show later. I believe it's in the updates as well, but I never changed this graphic. Sketch cards. So these are actually the ones I would show. I don't know if it's any better seeing them if I share them, but so probably not much bigger right now. When I get through the campaign, we'll look at them again. But anyway, so he'll do a sketch card similar to one of these, and the back of it, I think I show the back down here. Well, we'll see, but it's got a specific back to it. These are cards that Jim Whiting did. He decided just to do them all before the campaign, so these are the ones that are available. This one is the Dr. Mask one there is sold, but there's still these other ones available, I believe. So here's a close-up of one of them. And then this is the stretch goal, $600. If we get to that, then everybody, including the people on Fund My Comic, will get a mini print of this fully colored. So we'll see how that goes. This was $1,000 stretch goal, which it's possible we could get there, but it doesn't look likely. So, so let's go over to the updates. I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't like about maneuvering here on Kickstarter, but here's the artwork for Fall of the House of Usher that Ricardo Jaime did. This was the first piece he did, and then once I saw it, I'm like, he's got to do a cover. So the cover was one of the harder things. I think the two hardest things I had was figuring out somebody that knew what the heck I was talking about for this border, and the second thing was coming up with a cover. So once I saw this, I'm like, you got to do a cover as well. So let's see. And then we had, I think this is just the Wolf and Batsy one, so which we have on the campaign. So, yeah. So that is the campaign. Let's get rid of this. All right. So here's one of the Kevin Conrad. This is one of my sketch cards, but he can do any character you want. Like here's Peter Criss. If you'd seen the interview I did with him, we both love Kiss, so that's why I had him do those. He did a thing for one of the I can't remember the show now, but he did a print and he did the badge, like the badge for the con of Alice Cooper, which was really cool, which I don't have with me, but and if we go on, this is these are Jim Whiting's cards. So this is the zombie one. And this is what the back looks like. So it has the Dr. Mask logo, the original one, some of Elliot's artwork, and then character name, artist, signature, date, And then there is the devil. We're the devils, baby. That's all I think about. Is that Seinfeld? So some Martians here, some little green men. A little sci-fi for you. Night Vale. I really like this one too. I love there's a lot of detail in that too. I don't know why it's not going to focus for me. There we go. A lot of detail in there. Flesh Eater. That's a cool one. Vampire. One of the vampire lovers. I don't know, I'm thinking of Twins of Evil. So maybe there was only one vampire lover. Little Vampirella. Who doesn't like that? That one there. A lot of, I love the colors and the detail in these are just really, really cool. Zombie. And a werewolf. So those are all those. Now, if you signed up for the Fund My Comic, you're going to get one of these Dr. Mask cards done by Elliot. Back is different than this, a little bit different. A couple things I wasn't happy with, so changed it up a little bit. Boy. Of course, I'd wait till I'm live to choke up here. And okay, so the other thing is the newsprint version. Here's a copy of it right there. This is the proof. There's the back, and you can see that new Dr. Mask logo down there. But if you look at, there's the interiors. So it looks different than, obviously it's on newsprint. It's going to look different than the regular versions. The regular version will be on like I keep thinking of the Baxter paper that was used early. I think it was in the 80s. I can't remember exactly. All I ever think of is Camelot 3000 because that was a book that I first saw it in. But and I want to share this too, which I didn't. This is the winner. Just trying not to spoil anything, but this is the winner of the art contest. Tarm Hell is his Twitter handle, but did a great job on that. The inside back cover is going to be black and not red. I just thought the red was a little too much for that picture. And I think, trying to think if I have anything else to share. I have the t-shirt right here. It's going to be a little different than this, but it's pretty much this. This one I wasn't happy with the placement. It's a little too low for my taste. So I got to fix that. But other than that, it'll pretty much be the same. So let's go back, look at the campaign real quick. All right. There's got to be an easy way to do this stuff in StreamYard, and that's not the one. So we're still at 406. Let's watch that trailer again. Well, I have to do something here. All right. So here we are. Let me get rid of this. 45 minutes to go. So one of the things I wanted to kind of talk about is just in general, things that went well, things that didn't go well, whatever for Fund My Comic um, for Kickstarter. So I think I always had envisioned doing a Kickstarter, um, and then once I got done with Fund My Comic, I knew, I hadn't quite made the goal, so I was like, well, why not give it a shot, see what happens. Um, so let me rewind and go all the way back to the beginning. So when I had started out thinking about this book and how I wanted to make it and everything, one of the things, one piece of advice I got was talk to your printer. Whoever you want to have print your book, talk to them early so you know what you can do, what you can't do, whatever. So I found a printer. I had reached out to an artist, and they gave me the printer that they used, which I was very grateful for. Because I know sometimes people don't like to give up those things because, you know, uh, they don't like either they don't want drama or, I mean, I've heard horror stories about people like, having printers drop them because somebody said bad things about them or whatever. So, but anyway, so I reached out to the printer and I'm like, hey, this is what I want to do. And at the time, I didn't really know a ton about. I mean, I knew some basic stuff about printing and whatever, but and I was like, hey, it's going to be black, white, and red. And is it any cheaper for it to be black, white, and red rather than full color? And normally, now I know, normally it's usually black and white is one price. Any color, whether it's 1 or 100, is a different price. So, but the person I had talked to at the printer, they were like, we can work out something. I talked to whoever, and they say that if you're just sticking to red, we can make it a little bit cheaper than full color. I'm like, okay, cool. So, um, so that's kind of the assumption I was going on while I was starting out. And then as I got further along, I had a lot of thoughts, like, I had thought at one point, should it have grayscale too? Is that, or should it just be black, white, and red? At one point, I had thought, wouldn't it be great if it was magazine size? Because there's a lot of awesome art. It's better if it's bigger to me. And it would also leave more room for text for the stories. So, those are the things I was going back and forth to. I ended up not going with that printer. And like I said, now I know, black and white is one price, color is another. Doesn't matter, how many colors you have. And just read it, the red I have in the book itself is, I don't even how many, many shades of red. So, so it just doesn't, it's just how it works. So, so that kind of, that kind of thing kind of took me maybe down the wrong road at one point. I ended up not going with that printer, just because they seemed more, they seem like a great printer, and I've seen the stuff they print. They do a great job. But it seemed more like they would do better at like prestige, square bound stuff. I was looking to make a floppy. So that's why, I ended up going with a different printer. And then I also added in when Pete Samedi was doing his crowdfunding for printing his own comics. That was one of the things I looked at and was like, well, it wasn't super expensive. And I'm like, if I could print a couple hundred or 100 copies in newsprint, that would be awesome because I love newsprint. So I backed his campaign. So just so that and I'm like, I'll do that down the road. So that's why that's on the campaign as well. So anyway, the differences. So I was always going to go to Fund My Comic first. I like the idea. the Kickstarter, Indiegogo have both done some shady things that I didn't like. So, you know, Fund My Comic has been, you know, if you, if you want to put something on our platform, you can put it on our platform. They do have some guidelines, but nothing, you know, there's no litmus test to say, hey, if you don't do this X, Y, and Z, then you can't come on our platform. So that's why it's one of the things I always liked about Fund My Comic. So I knew that was the first place I was going to go. So the good things about Fund My Comic, the best thing is you pay, people, pledge, you get the money, within days. So if you want to, which I did at one point, like I printed, I took some of the money immediately and printed like cards and stuff like that I was going to need for the campaign, um, to basically speed up the process. But so that was the one cool thing. Obviously, anybody that knows anything about Kickstarter is like, if you don't make goal, you get nothing. Um, and um, you don't get any of that money till the end. So, and I'm not even sure. So obviously, it's my first Kickstarter, so I'm not sure how long it takes from when it ends, as long as you fund when it ends and when you actually see that money come into your account. Um, so the other good thing about Fund My Comic was you could put after the campaign's over, you see how you did, you can put it into store mode, and basically keep selling, but it's not technically, a live campaign. So that's what I did with that. I changed it to store mode, removed all the original art because I knew I was going to do the Kickstarter, and left, digital comics, and the T-shirt on there. Um, so um, that's kind of an option now on Kickstarter. It didn't used to be, but now it's like you can do late pledges. So I don't think it's like Indiegogo where you can just leave it up forever. Um, so um, anyway, another thing about that. So I think those are the majors. That the only other kind of wonky thing with Fund My Comic, and I probably said it before, is the shipping. They just haven't figured out exactly how to make that so um, you're not double charged for shipping. So if you buy two items, you get charged twice for shipping. I tried to make as many different like bundles and everything, so to limit that as much as possible. So if you wanted A and B cover, you wanted all three covers, you could do the bundle, and then you only pay for shipping once. So I did the best I could on that. I did like the idea of a coupon code, which I did use throughout the campaign. Like I did a special coupon for newsprint. So if you use the coupon code for newsprint, you get a discount on the newsprint comic. And then I did another like a Dr. Mass code, and that was off of whatever, a lot of things. I didn't really discount the original art because I'm not an artist, so I'm not making a lot of money off of the art per se, but so that was another cool thing about that. The other cool thing about Fund My Comic was social media. The social media person they have for Fund My Comic is awesome. They promote your stuff. They help you. I mean, I was out there promoting anything and everything. But I know on X they would definitely help push your book, and if you tagged them in something, they would respond. Um, where I did that with Kickstarter, and I didn't get one thing from Kickstarter. No, not one retweet. Did I expect to? No, but I just to me it comes down to like customer service kind of thing. But um, I don't know. I mean, how much is it? Obviously Kickstarter is making boatloads of money. how hard is it for them to hire somebody to just, retweet people's stuff once in a while or promote something or whatever. But, it is what it is. I mean, I didn't really expect a whole lot as far as that goes. So from there, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else to say about Fund My Comic or Kickstarter. Not that I can think of. I talked about this. So going back to other things that I could have done better. One of the issues I had was, like, I've been working on this book before I started the Fund My Comic campaign. I had been working on it for about almost a year. It was 90% done before I started. And I think part of it was me just being impatient. I'd been working on it for a year. I wanted to get it out. I wanted to get it into people's hands. And I probably didn't leave enough leeway. I probably, instead of waiting until it was 90% done, I probably should have waited until it was 70% done or 75% done. I went against some great advice as far as people saying, hey, once you get to 100 backers or 100 signups, then you should be good, to launch. Fund My Comic, I kicked off. I had, I think, 40 signups. And like I said, Kickstarter, I wasn't really, like, I was just looking at it as it'll help, I can make more stuff, and hopefully I can give people, some extra things for their, with their pledge. So, I forgot where I was going with that. I don't know why my voice is failing me today. So that back to signups. I didn't wait for those signups to occur. And then so the guy that gave me that advice was Michael Bancroft, which I hugely appreciate. I did try to do that. My impatience got the better of me. I didn't want to wait anymore. So that maybe hurt me in the end. And then another good example of that is Jason Sandberg. I went on to the Mad Ruth show with him, and I think it's Craig. I'm just so bad with names, but he's been consistently pushing his signups. He's at like 100 and I don't know, some signups, 60 signups, 30 signups, or something like that. So just a good example of how you should do it. So in the future, like my next small project I got coming up, I'm going to try to do that and give myself some more lead time to get it done. But I'll talk more about the future in a bit. So I think one good thing was I did get onto a lot of YouTube shows. For when I was doing the Fund My Comic, I can't even remember. I was doing a couple a week at least. Whoever I thought, either people I, had known just in, passing from chats or whatever, and, being in the chat of other creators, streams and stuff. And then one person would be like, oh, hey, you should go on this guy's show and you should go on the, so, a couple people did reach out to me too, which was cool. So, so I was trying to do that again for the Kickstarter, and I'm like, well, I've been on all these people's shows. I don't want to go back to them and say, hey, I got a Kickstarter now. You want to have me on? I didn't think that was fair to them. So I did reach out to a few people. Didn't get a lot of response. Part of the problem, I think, was when I was ending my Fund My Comic and starting the Kickstarter, it was like the holiday season, so that doesn't help. So anyway, I think that went well. And it did help to to get us to goal. The one thing that Craig and Jason on Mad Ruth had said was, they're like, I'm like, well, I got the Kickstarter coming. I can't remember if I had launched or not launched yet. But I still have the Fund My Comic going on. And they're like, and they looked at it and they're like, well, you're not at goal. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, let's get you to goal, So they pushed really hard and got that over the finish line. And I really appreciate them. And I think that's another, thing was I kind of forgot about it. I'm like, well, it's over. People can go there if they want. And I was just kind of moved on to the Kickstarter, which, and anybody that's done any of this stuff knows, you only have, especially if you're a part-time creator, you only have so many hours in a day. And if you're not doing one thing, something else is, if you're doing one thing, something else is getting neglected. So, so it's hard to balance it all. But so anyway, that's something else I would definitely change up for the future. So one thing, I feel bad that I keep forgetting who this was, but I got a book in the mail, and it was actually laminated. Or I don't know if it was laminated, but it was just a nice copy of all the people that had them on YouTube, and it had a QR code linked to that particular video. And that was awesome. That actually helped me to see. There was a few creators on there that maybe I didn't know. There's also, it was a good checklist. Okay, I went to this person, I went to that person, whatever. Maybe there was somebody you're like, I don't know if I fit, with that channel or whatever. So, but, so that's my plan too. So when I do fulfillment, that's going to be in the package as well. So everybody that had me on, I want to give them credit, and I want people to check out their channels because, they're all, awesome, awesome people. So, hopefully that'll help promote their, get them some more viewers and some more subscribers and things like that as well. So speaking of fulfillment, I don't know what else to say as far as the good, bad, and ugly about crowdfunding, but fulfillment. The plan at this point, I've got the newsprint comics are on their way. They're supposed to be here. They're supposed to ship out the 20th or the 25th of this month, so we'll have those. When the Kickstarter gets done, there is some late pledges on there. It's open. I don't know if I added t-shirts to the late pledge list. Regardless, whatever t-shirts are still out there for Fund My Comic and Kickstarter, I'll probably take those down within a week or so afterwards. There's definitely there was definitely things on none of the original art. Once the campaign's over, the art's gone. You can't purchase it anymore. But the rest of the things I think are available for maybe a late pledge. Fund My Comic is still up and running. So you could also go there. If for some reason you're like, I hate Kickstarter, you can go to Fund My Comic and get a comic. You can get a digital comic. You can get a t-shirt there. So, but fulfillment. So, the files for the regular version should head out within a week or so. And then it's just waiting for the time for them to be printed and shipped. I'm anticipating it is March. So I'm anticipating by the end of April, fulfillment should have already started. So my goal is to get those out as quickly as possible. And and I didn't state this in the campaign, but two things. One is I'm probably going to give preferential treatment to people that back the all-in bundles and ship their stuff out first, as long as I have everything, which I should. I should have everything. I've got the trading cards are already on their way. The only thing I would have to wait for is a T-shirt, which doesn't take that long. It's going to take longer to get the regular printing of the comics back, so they'll do that. So they'll get preferential treatment, and then I'll fulfill and get that stuff out as quickly as possible. And my goal is to give you guys more than maybe you bought. I just I really appreciate that. I know it's it's not easy to back somebody you don't really know. I mean, you don't know their work. You don't know if they're going to fulfill, especially in this day and age when we see campaigns that are years old and not getting fulfilled. But I will let you know that's the goal. Get it out. I wanted to be fulfilling before now, but it is what it is. It's just I kind of know now where that timeline should be, but so that's the plan. Because I'm trying to think of anything I might need, but the cards are coming. The newsprint comics will be here. T-shirts will have to be ordered, and the regular version will have to be ordered. Excuse me. Wow. What's going on today? And I think that is about it. So for the future, let's do a refresh on the campaign. I never know who needs a refresh and who doesn't, but between Fund My Comic and Kickstarter. But so we're still at $406, 22 minutes to go. So for the future, what's lined up? First of all, once everything's fulfilled, I'll have some available. I'm probably going to leave the Fund My Comic storefront open, at least for now. I might leave it open forever. I don't know until Luke tells me to take it down or something. But but I do have to get. I have a website. It's not really. It's a glorified landing page at this point. So so I got to get that up and running, and hopefully we can sell some through that as well. So that's what we'll do with any extras. The next book, A Dream Within a Dream. That's going to be the name of it. Be similar to this. I still am working out exactly how I want to do it. After getting some feedback on this, just maybe some things I want to change. There's definitely going to be more sequential pages to it. It'll have like an actual story throughout it. I just haven't figured out what I'm going to do the beginning and the end, or kind of spread it out throughout the book. So we'll see how it goes. But I still want to promote Poe, and that was another thing I didn't really realize when I started. I was thinking, as a Poe fan, hey, everybody knows Poe. This will, and people know him, but it doesn't. Even people that know him and read his stuff, maybe they don't know. They don't know a lot of it. So I was kind of surprised at how how a lot of people weren't exposed to Poe, I guess is the way, to look at it. And I think the younger you are, the less likely you are to have been exposed to Poe. I had talked to Fabrizio Aiello about H.P. Lovecraft, and we both kind of agreed that like he's kind of surpassed Poe as far as popularity at this time, and why that is, who knows, obviously, it got to a point in Lovecraft where a lot more people are exposed to him, enjoy his stuff. I think it's easier because he makes these big, huge worlds and these monsters and stuff. So we have like, comics and games and things like that based on Lovecraft, where Poe might be a little more difficult to do that with. My apologies. I don't know why all of a sudden my voice decided to fail me, but so that was another thing. And then that kind of became personal too, because I'm like, well, more people need to know about Poe. So it became like a secondary mission on this was to promote Poe, to get more people to read his stuff. And that's the whole thing. I think I forgot to mention it too while I was going through the campaign, but anybody that backs, whether you back physical or digital, you're going to get a digital collection of Poe stories. So it'll be stories from the comic. It'll be the complete stories from the comic with some of the art in black and white inside the book. So I'm actually working on formatting all that right now, which should be done soon. That's not going to take too much longer. But so anyway, next comic, Dream Within a Dream, focusing more on his fantasy type stuff, Poe's fantasy type stuff. It'll have some horror as well. And yeah, I'll start reaching out to artists and figuring it out. I need to figure out who the interior sequential artist will be, which I have a few that I can reach out to if it works out. That's how it goes in indie. They might be busy doing something else, so we'll see what happens. So that is down the road a bit. I'm hoping, if everything goes okay, that I can at least, it'll be April this gets done. I'm hoping by the end of the year I can start the next campaign for the next comic. I really want to try to do two a year. I don't have anything here, but currently I'm working on an 18 card game called 10 Minute Soccer. I've probably mentioned it before, and right now I'm getting some artwork for it. Once I get some artwork, get some of the cards laid out a little better, look a little nicer, I'll share that. I think I shared a picture of the prototype on social media and on my newsletter. So that's another thing. If you would like to get that, you can go to my website, which is just drmaskretro.com. You'll get the pop-up for signing up for the mailing list, and then you'll get an update whenever I have an update to send out. I don't send out a lot of updates at this point. I won't spam you, that's for sure. Who's got time for that? Not me. So, but um, so so that's the next one, and then the comic, and then I'm also working on um, the. I don't know if that encourages anybody, but the Never Bet the Devil Your Head. I'm working on a card game for that as well. So that is. I don't know if I will. I don't know if I'll get that ready to go before the end of the year. The soccer game, I don't. I hadn't really planned on doing any kind of crowdfunding for it or something. I was just going to throw it up on my website and then kind of sell it at shows and things like that. Um, but Fun My Comics pretty easy to use, and they're pretty. Um, you know, I love Fun My Comic, so I might just throw it up there and see what happens. So if I'm going to do that, I'll start promoting that soon. Um, for whoever might be interested in that. But it's just an 18 card game for 7 years up. And you just have a hand of 3 cards and you're manipulating the ball back and forth. And yeah, I mean, and I'm also working on a 4 card expansion for it, but I have to see whether it makes sense if it's actually adding something to the game or if it's just, you know, making the game more complicated for no reason. So I'm still working on that, but yeah, I think that's about all at this point. So I appreciate everybody that has backed, and for all the people that help, on Fund My Comic, all the people that have me on streams. Um, Holy smokes. Especially want to thank Andy Smith and Dennis for having me on their show to kick off the campaign for Fund My Comic. It was a huge help. Indie Comic Relay, those guys are always cool. Had me on before, I think it was before I even launched. So, Mad Ruth for dragging me across the finish line on Fund My Comic. I super appreciate that. The Dawn Studio, the draw. I can't remember. I think it's the Dawn Studio. I can't remember the exact name, but had me on and doing all the artwork and stuff. That was a lot of fun. It was awesome to see other artists doing your characters and stuff. So that was cool. Trying to think. Oh, Sci-Fi for Me. Not really. Maybe not. I guess he does do comic. I was going to say maybe it's not in his wheelhouse so much, but I mean, obviously his channel name is Sci-Fi for Me. But super cool guy, had me on, and I appreciated that. And then Kyle Prometheus. If you haven't seen his show, it's really unique to him. So. And I'm sure I've talked about it before, but he does great shows with creator focused shows. So, but a lot of great, a lot of I'm problem with thanking people is you're always going to forget somebody, but Rex from Devil Flyer, who was the guy that had me on when I was doing nothing. All I was doing was posting stuff on X. And he had me come on, so that was cool of him. And he continues to support. And then Elliot Rodriguez, who had me on. Graham Nolan, who allowed me to promote, my comic in his chat and stuff. He didn't have to do that, and I didn't expect, I don't expect anything from anybody. You know, I don't feel like anybody owes me anything. So, but he was cool enough to let me do that. So there's a lot of cool people that helped out. So, so I appreciate them all. Oh, I'm just looking, refreshing. 9 minutes to go. Still at 4:06. Let's see how it goes. Let me just share the screen. We can count it down here. So another thing I probably would do differently is not have my closeout at noon on a Sunday, but live and learn, you know. And I'm actually, let me look here. I'm actually going on. I did mention having Keith Gleason on. I'm going on Crenshaw's show the 28th, which is a couple of weeks. So I'll be on his show. And then another show, which I don't know if I should mention it or not until he does. I don't like to mess with anybody. So those are so I do have two appearances coming up. My goal at this point is just to, go on a few shows, have a few people on, and see what I can do with the channel and make it a little bigger. This is not my primary thing. I don't mind doing it, but I prefer interviewing somebody or them interviewing me or just chatting with people, I guess it makes the time go way quicker. The two shows I've done so far for my Unmasked show have been around the 2-hour mark. And that's after telling the creator, hey, it's going to be like an hour, and you just get talking. And, as long as it's interesting, people like it, I'll keep doing that. I'm not saying everyone's going to be 2 hours. It's just going to depend. Some people don't have 2 hours to spend. So, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm still trying to figure out. I was doing some shorts. They were working out pretty well, but I just really don't like them. I'm not a fan of them. And I was trying to do something with comics because obviously I love comics, but I feel like a minute or two isn't enough to really talk seriously about comics. But so it is what it is. But I have a couple of other ideas I might try out and see how that goes. And I have uploaded I've been trying to gather some of the Edgar Allan Poe media that's out there, like old radio shows and things like that, and then adding them to my to my channel as well to try to make it a one-stop shop kind of thing. So so you can check those out. Maybe I'll share the channel at the end here and just see. Got 5 minutes. Did we jump 426? I think so. Oddly enough, I mean, people really like this cover as far as what's being backed. They really like that retro cover. And Jim Whiting said, well, that's kind of your thing, isn't it? Like, it's right in the name. I'm like, yeah, I guess so. So who knows? Maybe the next book will have two homage covers. But yeah, don't miss on that original art, because once this is over, the original art is gone. The all-in-one bundles will be gone. The it'll be kind of bare bones. Oh. Yeah, we got 4 minutes. This is the other thing I didn't really mention when I get into the Kickstarter thing, but we got all kinds of scammers. Once I put it on Kickstarter, people wanting to sell me stuff. I mean, I literally this morning got 2 emails, phishing emails trying to scam me from, look like they were from Kickstarter. I'm like, that definitely sours me on it too, because I'm like, you can't put something in place where this doesn't happen. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they can do about it, but maybe they need to have a place to report this sort of stuff too, and maybe they do, and I just don't know about it. But it's I've heard other creators say the same thing. It's just like, unless you're smart enough not to be the person to click on the wrong link, you can end up getting scammed. So, yeah. So the 28th is. I'm just trying to think. Crenshaw shows on the 28th. Trying to figure out. Go away. So it's not this thing. So the 26th, I believe, is the day that Keith Gleason will be on, and I'll talk to him about his origins and what he's got going on. He's got right now he has got Kid Switch going on Kickstarter. A lot of people know him from Mighty Mascots comic, but Kid Switch is his new one. Looks pretty cool. So we'll talk about that too. Yeah, that'll be a good time. Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much it. That's all I got going on. I guess I'm just going to be working on the next book and on a couple of games that I'm working on and go from there. I do have another game in mind based on another Poe story. So I'm trying to do an 18-card game based on the Descent into Maelstrom. So we'll see how that goes. Still just kind of in the planning stage on that one, but I'm just trying to keep the Poe stuff going, I guess. And we're down to the last minute. That's the other thing I don't like. We had happened early on in the campaign, the first day of the campaign. Somebody bought like a $400 piece of art and then refunded it. It's like that stuff doesn't happen on Fun My Comic. Like I said, a lot more scammers and things like that. That sort of thing it leaves it open, for it. I could see having the ability to get money back if a person like does the campaign and doesn't fulfill, but to like be able to you literally could go in and back out and back it again and back. It's stupid to me. Counting it down. 10, 9, This is the other thing too. You know, you get down to the end and you're like, even though you're like, I'm past goal, who knows? Who knows what might happen, you know? So that looks like it. The end of the road. So $426, which is awesome. I appreciate everybody that backed on Kickstarter. I'm not saying I won't do another Kickstarter. I would definitely do some things differently. And there's things, everything has its negatives. But but I would definitely, yeah, I'll probably be back on there again. At this point, I don't think Indiegogo is in the cards. I'm not crazy about their well, I know they changed owners, so I can't really say that, but I wasn't crazy about some of the stuff. They did some shady stuff on there, but Game Found, who bought them, I I backed in a lot of things on Game Found. So I don't have anything against Game Found, but I've heard that the Indiegogo process is daunting, to say the least. So that was one good thing after doing Fund My Comic and moving to Kickstarter, is that a lot of it was just kind of copy and paste. So not everything, but it was a little bit different on how to set it up and everything. But anyway, it's on to fulfillment. If you're watching this later, you can actually, let me just share my screen one last time. And I never did. Oh well. So here's the Fund My Comic at $13.01.58. Like I said, you can still get cover A, cover B, newsprint. See, I love this layout way better than Kickstarter too. Three bundle and digital, and the t-shirt. I'm gonna have to take down within like a week or so, but so it doesn't just rhyme, it's true. FMC is the place to be. So anyway, I got a lot of stuff to do, so if you're watching this later, you can still, like I said, you can still back it on Fund My Comic. You might still be able to do it on Kickstarter. Like I said, I had some late pledge things, so some of the stuff might still be available. But that is it. So thanks again. We'll catch you on the next one, which on my channel will be 2 weeks from now. Unless I decide to do something in the meantime. You can follow me on X, where I post a comic book cover of the day, usually Golden Age comic. And I also post a romance comic panel. And then, I do retweet a lot of indie stuff and any creators that I like. And you can follow me on YouTube if you haven't subscribe. Instagram, I'm on Instagram. You can follow me there. Everything is pretty much Dr. Mask. If you want to check out my eBay store, with Dr. Mask as well. Right now, there's nothing out there, which I hope to change before the end of the day. So, one of the things I have to do today. So, I'm trying to think. Just drmaskretro.com is the website. You can sign up for the mailing list. And I think that's about it. I'm also on Rumble, which is basically just all the YouTube shows kind of uploaded there. I haven't gotten to where I'm streaming on multiple platforms yet, but anyway, give my voice a chance to heal here. I was going to do an outro, but who knows? Who knows? Let's see. Can we do it up here?